Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. The wind brushes against your face, fierce and unrelenting, and below a valley stretches endlessly, alive with possibilities. Somewhere in that vast expanse lies the life you've always dreamed of, more clarity, more freedom, more joy than you ever imagined. Yet, there's one truth you must understand before you step forward. Life doesn't wait for the hesitant. It favors those who learn its lessons deeply, who grasp wisdom once and carry it forever. In this audiobook, we're about to explore 20 life lessons that, once understood, have the power to transform your existence. These are not abstract ideas or hollow motivational phrases. They are practical truths, emotional insights, and powerful revelations drawn from the human experience. By the time you reach the last chapter, you'll see the world differently, and more importantly, you'll see yourself differently. Are you ready to step into a new way of living? Then let's begin. Chapter 1: The Power of Presence. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You are standing in the middle of a quiet forest, just as the first rays of sunlight pierce through the trees. The air is crisp, filled with the scent of pine and earth, and somewhere in the distance, a bird breaks the silence with a single pure note. You feel the ground beneath your feet, solid and steady. You breathe in slow and deep, and in that instant, there is nothing else. No past regrets, no anxious thoughts of tomorrow, only the vivid, undeniable reality of this very moment. This is what it means to be truly present, not merely alive in the physical sense, but awake in the deepest, most profound way possible. And yet, for so many of us, this state feels fleeting, almost unreachable. We move through life like sleepwalkers, our minds caught in endless loops of worry and planning, our attentions scattered across 1,000 things that demand it, yet nothing ever fully claimed. We check our phones, replay old conversations, dream about the future, and somewhere along the way, the life that's happening right now, slips quietly through our fingers. And here is the truth. Presence is not a luxury. It is not an abstract concept reserved for meditation cushions or sacred retreats. Presence is the foundation of a meaningful life. It is the lens through which every experience becomes richer, every relationship deeper, every moment more alive. Without it, we exist but do not live. We move, but we do not feel. We achieve, but we do not savor. Consider for a moment a conversation you had recently. Maybe it was with a friend, a family member, or even a stranger. Were you truly there, listening, aware, fully engaged? Or were your thoughts elsewhere, half-focused, anticipating your reply, planning the rest of your day? Every interaction, every shared smile, every fleeting moment of connection loses its power when we are absent. But when we are present, even the simplest moments, the laughter of a child, the warmth of a cup of coffee, the golden light at dusk, become profound. They are no longer routine. They are living, breathing fragments of beauty that, if embraced fully, can transform the texture of our day. Presence is not simply paying attention. It is surrendering to the now. It is choosing, again and again, to step out of the noise and the hurry and to inhabit your own life fully. And this choice, small as it may seem, sets the stage for everything else we will explore in this journey. Because when you are present, clarity arises, insights come naturally. You stop reacting unconsciously and start responding intentionally. You see what truly matters, what is trivial, and what can be released. I want to share something that illustrates this perfectly. A friend of mine, a successful businesswoman, was constantly chasing goals, driven by the pressure to accomplish more. She had everything on paper: wealth, recognition, a bustling social life, yet she told me one day that she felt empty. She described the sensation of walking through her own life as though watching a film from behind a glass. One morning she made a small conscious choice. She decided to sit quietly in her garden for 10 minutes before the day began, simply noticing the sunlight on her hands, the way the breeze moved across the leaves, the sounds around her. That 10 minutes transformed her. She told me that for the first time in years, she felt awake. And slowly the calm clarity and awareness from those 10 minutes began to ripple into every decision she made, every relationship she nurtured, every challenge she faced. This is the power of presence. It is not complicated, and it does not require grand gesture. It begins with small, deliberate acts of awareness, repeated day after day, until living fully in the now becomes your natural state. And from that place, life does not just happen to you, it unfolds with intention, depth, and resonance. Being present also teaches us something essential about suffering and joy. Pain loses its grip when we are aware of it without resistance. Anxiety softens when we allow ourselves to simply observe the thoughts racing through our minds without judgment. Joy amplifies when we notice it consciously, savor it fully, and let it fill us completely. Presence is a magnifier. It heightens reality, strips away illusions, and shows us life in its raw, beautiful entirety. And here is another layer. Presence is not passive. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to confront the discomfort of stillness, the uncertainty of letting go of constant distraction. Our minds resist, our bodies fidget, our culture encourages pure emotion. But there is profound strength in pausing, in breathing, in truly inhabiting your life instead of merely surviving it. Strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers in the quiet moments when you choose to be fully here, fully now. By embracing presence, we lay the groundwork for every lesson that follows in this audiobook. It is the lens through which all life lessons become clear. Without it, wisdom can be intellectual only. With it, wisdom becomes lived experience, deeply understood, and permanently integrated. When you begin to live with presence, you begin to reclaim your life from distraction, from autopilot, from the constant pull of past and future. You begin to live from the inside out, with awareness as your guide. As we close this first chapter and prepare to move forward, I invite you to carry one thought with you. Life is always happening. Right now, in every breath, every heartbeat, every glance, every sound, the moments you notice are the moments you truly live. And the moments you truly live are the ones that leave a mark, not on others, necessarily, but on yourself. They shape your soul, your perception, your experience of the world. The journey we are about to take together will explore lessons that can transform your life, but it begins here, with the simple, profound act of being present. Remember this: what you notice, what you engage with, what you hold in your awareness, is what becomes real. So as we turn the page to our next chapter, know that you are stepping into life with intention. You are opening the door to discovery, insight, and growth, and that door will lead us deeper into the ways we can shape our lives, not by chance, but by conscious choice. Presence is the first key. And now, we move forward, together, toward the next lesson. Chapter 2. Embrace your vulnerability. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this: a vast, storm-tossed sea stretching as far as the eye can see. Waves rise like mountains, crashing relentlessly, and yet, somewhere in the midst of this tempest, a lone sailor guides a fragile boat with nothing but skill, intuition, and courage. The boat is small, the storm is immense, and the only way to survive is not to resist the waves entirely, but to bend, to move with them, to embrace the uncertainty, the fragility, the sheer exposure of being alive. This is vulnerability, and this is where strength truly begins. So many of us live as if showing weakness is a crime. We hide our fears, mask our insecurities, and build walls around our hearts, believing that protection is power. But in reality, those walls are prisons. They isolate us from connection, from growth, from the raw, beautiful essence of life itself. To be human is to be vulnerable. It is to open ourselves to joy and pain alike, to risk disappointment for the possibility of love, to stand fully exposed even when the outcome is uncertain. Vulnerability is not a flaw. It is a gateway. It is the threshold where courage and authenticity meet. Think of a tree in winter, bare and exposed to the harsh winds. It seems fragile, yet in that openness lies its resilience. Its roots grow deeper, its structure strengthens, its capacity to weather storms expands. Similarly, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we tap into a profound reservoir of inner strength we didn't know existed. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, a talented artist, had always hidden her work from the world. She feared criticism, rejection, the judgment of strangers. For years, she kept her creations in a quiet studio, admired only by herself. One day, she made a simple yet terrifying choice. She shared a painting online. Immediately, her heart raced. She braced for negativity, but instead, responses poured in, words of appreciation, connection, and inspiration. That small act of courage, that willingness to be seen, changed the course of her life. She realized that vulnerability is not about being weak. It is about being brave enough to exist fully in the world, even when the outcome is uncertain. Vulnerability opens the door to connection. No real relationship, no matter how deep, can exist without it. When you show your authentic self, your fears, your hopes, your imperfections, you invite others to do the same. You create space for empathy, for trust, for intimacy. And the beauty is this: the world doesn't reject vulnerability, it responds to it. People are drawn to authenticity because it reflects the truth they sense, but often hide themselves. But let's be honest, embracing vulnerability is not easy. It demands risk. It challenges the parts of us that crave safety and certainty. It asks us to confront shame, to face judgment, to sit with discomfort. Yet within that very discomfort lies transformation. Each time you choose openness over concealment, honesty over pretense, courage over fear, you expand the boundaries of your life. You step closer to freedom, closer to the kind of existence that feels alive in every fiber of your being. Vulnerability also teaches humility. It reminds us that perfection is an illusion, that control is temporary, and that life, in all its unpredictable beauty, cannot be contained. When we accept our limitations and imperfections, we stop striving to meet impossible standards and begin to honor the simple, profound truth of our humanity. This acceptance is liberating. It allows us to love ourselves, not despite our flaws, but because of them. And here is a deeper layer. Vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity, innovation, and growth. Every leap forward in art, business, or personal development requires risk, uncertainty, and exposure. The moment you dare to step beyond the familiar, to risk failure, to reveal what you've held inside, you ignite potential that could never emerge within the safety of concealment. To hide is to stagnate, to reveal is to evolve. So, how do we begin to embrace vulnerability in our daily life? It starts with small acts. Speak your truth in a conversation where honesty feels risky. Share an idea that scares you. Acknowledge a fear rather than suppress it. Allow yourself to cry when grief comes. Laugh when joy finds you. Notice how these small gestures of openness ripple outward, affecting your relationships, your work, and the way you see yourself. Remember, vulnerability is not a destination, it is a practice, a conscious choice repeated every day. Each time you choose to be seen, to be felt, to be honest, you cultivate courage that grows stronger over time. And with that courage comes freedom, the freedom to live fully, to love deeply, to pursue your purpose without fear holding you back. As we pause here, reflect on this. Strength is not built on armor. Strength is built in the moments you allow yourself to be exposed, in the times you risk being real, in the courage to say, "This is me, and I am enough." Vulnerability is the quiet power that sustains resilience, fuels connection, and ignites personal transformation. As we turn toward the next lesson in our journey, carry this with you. Life's richest experiences, the ones that leave a lasting imprint on your heart, are found on the other side of fear. They exist where openness meets courage, where honesty meets love, where your heart dares to beat without pretense. Embrace your vulnerability. Step into the storm with your heart uncovered, and you will discover a strength more profound than anything you have ever known. In the next chapter, we will explore how failure, something so often feared, can become a teacher, a guide, and a stepping stone to extraordinary growth. And it all begins with the courage you practice here, in the simple act of showing up as your true self. Chapter 3: The Lessons in Failure. Close your eyes and imagine walking through a dense forest at night. The path is uneven, the shadows stretch long and strange, and every step feels uncertain. You stumble over roots, lose your footing on slippery rocks, and every now and then you fall. The darkness is disorienting, the air thick with tension, but with each fall you learn where the roots lie, how to balance, how to move with caution and confidence. You discover that every misstep, every moment of discomfort carries a hidden lesson. This is failure, and it is not the enemy you have been led to fear. It is in fact one of life's greatest teachers. So many of us are terrified of failure. We equate it with inadequacy, rejection, or defeat. We avoid risks, we hide our dreams, we settle for comfort over growth, all because we fear falling. But here is the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is an essential part of it. Every breakthrough, every achievement, every moment of true growth has been preceded by setbacks, mistakes, and what the world might call failure. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. When he was inventing the light bulb, he reportedly failed thousands of times. Each attempt that didn't work was not a defeat. It was data, insight. And yet most of us focus only on the final success, forgetting the immense learning, patience, and perseverance that shaped it. Failure is the raw material from which wisdom, skill, and resilience are crafted. Failure teaches humility. It reminds us that we are not infallible, that life is unpredictable, and that our journey requires adaptation and patience. In the discomfort of failure, we confront our limitations, but we also confront our potential. We are forced to see where we need to grow, where we need to change, and where we need to summon courage we didn't know we had. Let me share a personal story. Early in my own career, I poured months into a project that I believed would succeed effortlessly. I worked tirelessly, convinced my plan was flawless, and yet when the outcome came, it fell far short of expectations. The disappointment was staggering. I felt the weight of failure pressing down on every part of me. But in the quiet aftermath, I began to reflect. I studied what went wrong, identified my blind spots, and discovered strategies I had never considered. That failure, painful as it was, became the foundation for every future success that followed. It taught me resilience, adaptability, and the invaluable skill of learning without ego. Failure also teaches perspective. When you fail, you are forced to ask difficult questions. What truly matters? What can I control? What can I release? In these moments, clarity emerges. You begin to see which fears were illusions, which pressures were unnecessary, and which strengths you never realized were within you. Failure strips away pretense and exposes the essence of your character, your priorities, and your vision. Another gift of failure is courage. Each time you fall and rise again, you prove to yourself that setbacks are temporary. that resilience is possible, and that you are capable of more than you imagined. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act despite fear. Every failure you survive becomes evidence of your inner strength, reinforcing the truth that no obstacle can permanently define or limit you. Failure encourages creativity and innovation. When the first plan fails, the second must be imaginative, the third inventive. When the familiar approach does not work, the mind is forced to explore uncharted territory, to think differently, and to experiment boldly. Failure is the crucible in which innovation is forged. It is the engine of growth, compelling us to adapt, refine, and evolve. But to truly learn from failure, we must embrace it with awareness and reflection. We cannot simply stumble and move on. We must pause, examine, and ask, what can this teach me? How can this experience expand my understanding, sharpen my skills, or strengthen my resolve? Failure becomes transformative only when met with intention, humility, and curiosity. It is also important to remember that failure does not define you. You are not your mistakes, and your worth is not measured by your successes or failure. Each failure is a moment in your journey, a teacher guiding you, not a sentence condemning you. The path of life is not linear. It twists, turns, and rises through setbacks, as much as through victories. Embrace this, and you reclaim the power of perspective, resilience, and hope. So, how can we cultivate a healthy relationship with failure? First, we reframe it. We stop seeing it as defeat, and start seeing it as insight. Second, we detach our self-worth from the outcome. Our value remains intact, even when results do not match expectations. Third, we embrace reflection. Each misstep carries lessons that only awareness can reveal. And finally, we commit to persistence. The only true failure is the refusal to try again. Every attempt builds momentum, knowledge, and strength. Failure is a mirror. It shows us what we need to see, even when it is uncomfortable. It tests our courage, our determination, and our willingness to grow. It is not punishment, but guidance, and when we embrace it, we unlock the hidden potential within ourselves, the resourcefulness, creativity, and resilience that waiting for perfect conditions could never awaken. As we draw this chapter to a close, pause and reflect on this. Every time you have stumbled, fallen, or felt the sting of defeat, you are being taught. Every challenge, every mistake, every setback is a stepping stone to a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. The secret is not to avoid failure, but to welcome it as an essential companion on your journey. In the next chapter, we will explore one of life's most liberating practices, letting go. We'll discover how releasing what no longer serves us can transform struggle into freedom and open the door to clarity, peace, and possibility. But first, remember this truth: failure is not the end. It is the beginning of wisdom, courage, and a life lived fully. Chapter 4. The Art of Letting Go. Picture this. You are standing on a riverbank, watching the water flow endlessly past. In your hands, you clutch a stone, a memory, a regret, a burden you have carried for far too long. Your fingers tighten around it, the weight familiar, almost comforting in its predictability. And yet, as you watch the current, you realize the river does not stop for anyone. It moves, relentless and unyielding. The only choice you have is to release the stone, to let it sink beneath the surface, and to watch it carried away. This is the essence of letting go. So many of us cling to what no longer serves us: past mistakes, failed relationships, resentment, fear, or self-doubt. We hold on because it is familiar, because it feels safer than the uncertainty of release. But every moment we grasp tightly, we limit the flow of life. We stunt our growth, block our joy, and deny ourselves the freedom of the present. Letting go is not forgetting, nor is it weakness. It is courage. It is clarity. It is the conscious decision to make space for what is possible, rather than remaining imprisoned by what has already passed. Consider a story. A man carried anger for years after a betrayal by someone he loved. The bitterness defined his relationships, his choices, even his sense of self. One morning he decided to write a letter, not to send, not to confront, but simply to release the thoughts, the pain and the attachment. As he folded the paper and let it go, a weight lifted from his chest. He did not change the past. The actions of others remained the same. But by releasing the hold he had on that experience, he reclaimed his peace. He stepped into a life unburdened, ready to embrace possibility rather than bitterness. Letting go is an act of empowerment. It is choosing not to let the past dictate your future. It is refusing to allow fear, regret, or resentment to control your decisions. It is understanding that clinging to what cannot be changed only limits your ability to thrive, to create and to experience life fully. And here is a subtle but profound truth. Letting go does not always mean abandoning responsibility. Sometimes it is releasing attachment to outcomes, to expectations, or to the illusion that life must unfold in a particular way. It is recognizing the difference between what you can influence and what you cannot. When you release what is beyond your control, you gain clarity, energy, and focus for the things you can change, the relationships you can nurture, the choices you can make, the growth you can pursue. Letting go also teaches acceptance. It is the practice of acknowledging reality without resistance. When we resist what has happened, we perpetuate suffering. When we accept what has happened, we free ourselves to respond, to learn, and to move forward with grace. Acceptance does not equal approval. It is not resignation. It is awareness. It is understanding that life unfolds as it will, and that our peace comes not from forcing the river to stop, but from learning to navigate its currents. Think of a tree shedding its leaves in autumn. The branches may feel bare and exposed, but in letting go of what no longer serves, the tree prepares for renewal. In its release there is survival, strength, and the promise of new growth. Human life follows the same rhythm. By releasing old beliefs, grudges, and fears, we make room for wisdom, joy, and possibility to enter. And yet, letting go is rarely instantaneous. It is a process, sometimes slow, sometimes painful. It demands reflection, courage, and self-compassion. We may revisit old wounds, question our choices, and feel the temptation to hold on once more. But each time we choose release, even in the smallest measure, we strengthen our ability to live fully, to respond rather than react, and to embrace life with open hands and open hearts. To begin practicing the art of letting go, start small. Release one thought, one expectation, or one grudge that no longer serves you. Notice the relief, the lightness, the space it creates. Gradually, expand this practice into larger areas of life. Let go of perfectionism, of attachment to control, of fear of judgment. With each conscious release, you reclaim a part of yourself that has been waiting unseen to breathe freely. Letting go is not only personal, it transforms relationship. When we release the need to control others, to demand recognition, or to dwell on past slights, we invite connection, understanding, and compassion. We create room for love to flourish, unencumbered by resentment or expectation. In releasing, we do not weaken the bond, we strengthen it by choosing presence, empathy, and acceptance over conflict and attachment. Here is the paradox. By letting go, we gain more peace, more clarity, more freedom, more capacity to live deeply and authentically. The very act of release, once feared as loss, becomes the gateway to abundance. We discover that life flows more effortlessly, that challenges are less burdensome, and that joy, creativity, and opportunity emerge naturally when we stop clinging. As we prepare to move to the next chapter, reflect on this. What in your life are you holding too tightly? What weight could you release today, even in a small way, to open space for growth, clarity, and freedom? Remember, letting go is not a single act, but a continuous practice, a conscious, courageous choice to step into life unburdened. The lessons of presence, vulnerability, and failure all converge here. They prepare us to release what no longer serves, so we can embrace what truly matters. And as you take this next step, know that each moment of release is a moment of empowerment, a reclaiming of your life, your energy, and your possibility. In the next chapter, we will explore the power of gratitude, the quiet force that transforms ordinary days into extraordinary experiences, that shifts perspective, and that reveals abundance, even in the smallest detail. But for now, breathe deeply, feel the weight of what you have released, and step forward lighter, freer, and more open than before. Chapter 5. Cultivating Gratitude. Close your eyes and picture waking to the first light of dawn. The sun spills gently across your room, painting walls in gold and amber. A soft breeze slips through an open window, carrying the faint scent of flowers, of earth, of life itself. In this quiet moment, there is nothing extraordinary happening, yet, if you pay attention, you can feel it. The sheer, undeniable gift of being alive, the miraculous ordinary that is often overlooked. This is gratitude, waiting to be noticed, waiting to transform everything. Gratitude is not simply saying thank you when things go your way. It is a way of seeing, a lens through which the world appears more vivid, more meaningful, more alive. It is the recognition that life, even in its challenges, offers countless blessings, some subtle, some immense, that shape who we are and how we experience the world. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. It turns small moments into profound experiences, and it turns ordinary existence into something sacred. So many of us drift through life chasing more success, more validation, more comfort. We overlook the beauty of what already exists, waiting for circumstances to change before we allow ourselves to feel content. Gratitude asks us to pause, to look inward, and to acknowledge the abundance that surrounds us. It asks us to see beyond what is missing and to celebrate what is present. Consider a story, a woman who had endured years of hardship, financial struggles, health challenges, and personal loss, kept a small notebook by her bedside. Each night, she wrote 3 things she was grateful for: a friend's kind word, a warm cup of tea, a quiet moment in nature. Over time, the simple act of noticing these small blessings began to shift her perspective. The weight of her struggles remained, but the light of appreciation grew stronger, illuminating her path. Gratitude did not erase her difficulties, but it gave her a foundation of resilience, hope, and joy from which she could move forward. Gratitude is transformative because it changes the way we relate to our own lives. When we practice it consistently, we shift focus from scarcity to abundance, from lack to presence, from complaint to appreciation. It rewires the mind, fostering optimism, patience, and a sense of contentment that is not dependent on external circumstances. It allows us to live fully in the present, rather than waiting for some imagined future moment of fulfillment. And here is a subtle but profound truth. Gratitude is both personal and relational. When we express genuine appreciation for the people in our lives, their kindness, their presence, their influence, we deepen our connections. We nurture empathy, understanding, and love. A single word of thanks, a sincere acknowledgement, a note of recognition can ripple outward, creating a network of positivity that touches far more than we realize. Gratitude is not passive. It is active, intentional, and contagious. Let me tell you another story. A teacher, worn down by years of challenges, began starting each class by sharing one thing she was grateful for. At first, the students shrugged, indifferent to the exercise, but slowly something changed. They began to notice the small wonders in their own lives: a friend's smile, a favorite song, the smell of rain. Gratitude spread quietly, subtly, until the classroom itself became lighter, warmer, more alive. The act of noticing created a chain reaction, proving that the practice of gratitude can transform not only individual lives, but entire communities. Gratitude also teaches perspective. It reminds us that every experience, even those that feel painful, carries meaning. The hardships we endure, when viewed through the lens of gratitude, reveal lessons, growth, and resilience. A challenge becomes not merely a burden, but a teacher. A loss becomes not merely an absence, but a call to cherish what remains. Gratitude does not deny pain, it gives it context, a place within the wider story of life, where hope and appreciation can coexist with struggle. To cultivate gratitude, begin with mindfulness. Notice the moments that are easy to overlook: the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of laughter, the rhythm of your breath. Keep a journal, recording what you notice. Make it a habit to express appreciation to those around you, not out of obligation, but from genuine recognition. Gradually, you will find that gratitude is no longer an occasional act, but a natural state of being, coloring every interaction and experience with depth and richness. Gratitude also requires honesty. It is not about pretending everything is perfect, or minimizing hardship, or forcing positivity. It is about seeing clearly, acknowledging reality, and choosing to notice the gifts that exist alongside the struggles. It is a deliberate focus on abundance, connection, and the simple miracles of life that are so easy to take for granted. Here is the quiet magic. As we cultivate gratitude, we begin to attract more to be grateful for. The mind trained to see blessings notices opportunities, kindness, and beauty that might otherwise pass unseen. Gratitude opens our awareness to the subtle currents of life, creating a feedback loop of appreciation and joy. It reminds us that fulfillment is not a destination, it is a lens, a choice, and a daily practice. As we conclude this chapter, reflect on this. What can you notice right now that fills you with appreciation? What small wonders, moments, or people might you acknowledge that you have overlooked? Gratitude is not just a practice, it is a perspective that can transform every day, every interaction, and every aspect of your life. In the next chapter, we will explore the power of intentional focus, the ability to direct your mind with clarity and purpose, shaping your actions and your reality. But before we turn that page, take a moment to breathe deeply, feel the abundance that already exists around you, and carry the warmth of gratitude into the next steps of your journey. Chapter 6: The Power of Intentional Focus. Imagine standing in a vast open field at sunrise. The horizon stretches endlessly, bathed in soft gold and pink hues. Around you, the world hums with possibilities. Birds take flight, leaves shimmer in the gentle wind, and the air is crisp with potential. In this moment, you realize something profound. Your attention is a compass, guiding every step, every choice, every outcome. Where your focus goes, energy flows, and your life follows. Intentional focus is not simply paying attention. It is the conscious, deliberate choice to direct your mind, your energy, and your actions toward what truly matters. It is the skill of cutting through distraction, noise, and uncertainty to pursue clarity, purpose, and meaningful progress. Life is filled with endless stimuli, constant demands, and seductive distractions, but the power of focus allows you to rise above the chaos and create with precision, intention, and impact. Consider the story of an athlete training for a championship. Hours of practice, repetition and refinement are required, but what truly separates excellence from mediocrity is not talent alone, it is focus. The ability to immerse fully in each drill, to eliminate distraction, to visualize success with unwavering clarity is what transforms potential into achievement. Focus turns effort into mastery, chaos into coherence, and possibility into reality. Intentional focus is a muscle that can be strengthened. It begins with awareness, recognizing where your attention naturally drifts, noticing when distractions dominate, and observing the moments when your energy dissipates. Once you are aware, you can begin to redirect, to choose with intention where your thoughts, time and energy are invested. Focus becomes not a passive reaction, but an active, deliberate practice that shapes the trajectory of your life. Think of focus as a lens through which reality is perceived. A weak, unfocused lens blurs the details, obscures clarity, and allows trivial matters to dominate your perception. A strong, intentional lens sharpens vision, highlights priorities, and magnifies the significance of what truly matters. When your mind is focused, your actions are precise, your decisions are clear, and your energy is amplified. Let me share a personal insight. Early in my journey, I often allowed my attention to scatter. Emails, notifications, obligations, and endless possibilities pulled me in every direction. I achieved some progress, but it felt fragmented, exhausting, and unsatisfying. One day, I committed to a practice of intentional focus, defining a single priority for each day, immersing fully in that task, and eliminating distraction. The results were remarkable, not just in productivity, but in fulfillment, confidence, and clarity. Focus transformed my actions from scattered effort into deliberate impact. Intentional focus also cultivates resilience. When life presents challenges, distractions, or setbacks, a focused mind can navigate uncertainty with purpose. It prevents overwhelm by allowing you to attend to what is controllable, to make deliberate choices, and to conserve energy for what truly matters. Focus is the anchor that keeps your vision steady amidst the storms of life, grounding you in what is important, while letting go of what is trivial or fleeting. Focus is deeply tied to intention. Attention without intention can wander aimlessly, while intention without attention dissipates energy. The combination, however, creates a powerful force capable of shaping reality. Each thought, each action, each moment directed with clarity contributes to progress, growth, and fulfillment. Focus is not merely a skill, it is a catalyst for transformation. A practical way to cultivate intentional focus is to begin each day with clarity. Ask yourself, what matters most today? What action will bring me closest to my goals, my values, my purpose? Once defined, protect that focus fiercely. Reduce distractions, minimize interruptions, and dedicate time to deep, uninterrupted engagement. Even small periods of sustained focus accumulate into remarkable results over time. Focus also requires discipline and self-awareness. The mind naturally drifts, and impulses demand attention. Training focus means noticing when you have wandered, gently returning attention to what matters, and practicing patience with yourself. It is a form of self-respect, a commitment to honor your own priorities, rather than surrendering to the endless pull of external demand. Consider this: every moment spent scattered, distracted, or reactive is a moment lost. Every moment spent intentionally, purposefully, and with clarity is an investment in growth, mastery, and fulfillment. Focus magnifies effort. It transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results. It aligns energy with purpose and creates a life that is not accidental, but deliberate, meaningful, and impactful. Intentional focus is not only about achievement, it is about presence. When you focus on the person in front of you, the task at hand or the experience unfolding, you fully engage with life. You notice details, feel deeply, and respond with authenticity. Life becomes richer, relationships deeper, and experiences more vivid. Focus is the key to living intentionally, rather than merely drifting through existence. As we reflect on this truth, ask yourself, where is your attention going right now? Are you investing it in what matters, or allowing it to scatter? What would happen if you channeled your energy, your thoughts, and your actions toward the one thing that could make the greatest difference today? Intentional focus is not a magic spell, it is a practice, a commitment, and a mindset. But when cultivated, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for creating a life of purpose, impact, and fulfillment. As we prepare to turn the page to the next chapter, remember this: focus is freedom. It is the power to choose where your energy flows, the ability to cut through distraction, and the courage to dedicate yourself to what matters most. In the next chapter, we will explore the transformative power of persistence, how steady, unwavering effort can overcome obstacles, amplify focus, and turn dreams into reality. But for now, breathe, center yourself, and feel the quiet strength that comes from directing your mind with intention, clarity, and purpose. Chapter 7: The Transformative Power of Persistence. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a mountain rising into the clouds, its peak hidden from sight. The wind howls, the path is steep, and every step seems heavier than the last. You stumble, you tire, yet something inside whispers, "Keep going, one more step, one more moment." That whisper, that steady insistence, is the essence of persistence. It is the quiet force that carries ordinary people through extraordinary challenges, transforming dreams into reality and potential into achievement. Persistence is not glamorous. It does not announce itself with fanfare or applause. It is the silent refusal to quit, the daily choice to show up, to continue, to endure even when the outcome is uncertain. It is the understanding that mastery, growth, and success are not the result of a single moment of brilliance, but of countless repeated actions, of resilience in the face of obstacles, and of unwavering commitment to what truly matters. Think of the inventor who tried 1,000 times before creating a breakthrough, the writer who faced rejection after rejection before finishing a masterpiece, the athlete who trained through exhaustion, injury, and doubt before reaching the podium. In each story, the common thread is persistence, the refusal to surrender, the courage to rise after failure, the determination to continue even when progress is invisible. Persistence is fueled by purpose. When your why is strong, when your vision is clear, persistence becomes not a burden but a compass, guiding you through the storms of doubt, fear, and fatigue. Purpose provides context to struggle, giving meaning to every setback and energy to every effort. Without purpose, persistence can feel empty. With purpose, it becomes unstoppable. Here is a deeper truth. Persistence is not about blindly pushing forward. It is about intelligent, intentional action. It is the combination of effort, reflection, and adjustment. When one path is blocked, persistence finds another. When one strategy fails, it seeks improvement, learning, and adaptation. True persistence is flexible, adaptive, and aware. It does not cling rigidly to failure, but evolves, grows, and continues with insight. Consider a story: a young artist, struggling to sell her paintings, faced repeated rejection. Galleries said no, patrons overlooked her work. She questioned her talent, her purpose, and her future, yet each day she painted, each day she sought opportunities, each day she refined her craft. Years later, her work gained recognition, not because luck intervened, but because persistence, combined with learning and growth, carried her beyond the noise of doubt and rejection. Persistence also builds character. Each act of endurance, each choice to continue despite difficulty, shapes resilience, confidence, and self-trust. It teaches you that setbacks are temporary, obstacles are surmountable, and that your capacity to endure is far greater than you often realize. Every challenge met with persistence becomes a testament to your inner strength, a reminder that you are capable of more than you imagine. It is important to understand that persistence does not guarantee immediate success. Often the rewards of persistence are delayed, subtle, or hidden. Yet every step taken, every effort made, accumulates. Progress may be invisible at first, but the seeds planted through persistence grow quietly, eventually emerging as achievement, transformation, and fulfillment. Persistence thrives on small, consistent action. It is rarely about monumental leaps, but about steady, deliberate steps forward. Writing a single page each day, practicing for an hour without fail, making one call, taking one small action toward your goal. These moments, repeated consistently, compound over time, creating momentum that is unstoppable. Equally important is patience. Persistence and patience are partners. To persist without patience is to burn out. To be patient without persistence is to drift. When combined, they create a rhythm of steady progress, a powerful force that carries you through challenges, nurtures growth, and sustains motivation when the path seems long and arduous. Persistence is also deeply connected to belief. Belief in yourself, in your vision, and in the process of growth fuels the stamina needed to continue. When doubt creeps in, persistence reminds you to act anyway. When fear threatens to stop you, persistence whispers, just one more step, one more attempt, one more day. The accumulation of these small choices, the decision to rise, to act, to continue, creates outcomes far beyond what a single effort could achieve. A practical way to cultivate persistence is to define your long-term vision clearly and break it into achievable steps. Celebrate small victories along the way, but never confuse them with the end goal. Reflect on setbacks, learn, adapt, and then continue. Recognize that challenges are not signs of failure, but milestones on the journey, each offering insight, growth, and resilience. Persistence transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. It is the bridge between potential and accomplishment, between desire and realization, between dreams and tangible results. It is a practice, a mindset, and a commitment to continue even when the world seems indifferent, when obstacles seem insurmountable, and when doubt whispers that giving up is easier. As we draw this chapter to a close, reflect on this. What in your life requires persistence today? Where could one more effort, one more moment of courage, one more choice to continue, create momentum and transformation? Remember that every great achievement in history, every story of triumph, is built on the foundation of persistence, the quiet, unwavering decision to keep moving forward, step by step, day by day. In the next chapter, we will explore the essential role of adaptability, the ability to adjust, evolve, and thrive in the face of change. But for now, take a moment to honor the steps you have already taken, recognize the resilience within you, and carry forward the strength that persistence provides. The mountain may be high, the journey may be long, but each deliberate step moves you closer to the summit and closer to the life you are capable of creating. Chapter 8. The Strength of Adaptability. Picture yourself standing in the middle of a river, its waters rushing around you with relentless force. One path seems blocked by jagged rocks. Another swirls into deep currents. At first, fear rises. You want control. You want certainty. But the river does not wait. It moves forward, reshaping the land, bending to obstacles, flowing around resistance. Life is like that river, constantly shifting, demanding not rigidity, but adaptability, the ability to bend, adjust, and move with intelligence and grace. Adaptability is not mere survival. It is the conscious choice to engage with change, to embrace uncertainty, and to transform challenges into opportunities. In a world that is unpredictable, fast-moving, and often chaotic, adaptability becomes a vital skill, a force that allows you to navigate life's currents with wisdom and resilience. It turns disruption into growth and resistance into possibility. Consider the story of a business leader whose industry was upended by technological innovation. Traditional strategies failed, employees resisted, and the path ahead seemed uncertain. Yet by embracing adaptability, learning new skills, listening to emerging trends, and experimenting with new approaches, she not only saved her company, but transformed it into a leader in a completely new market. Adaptability did not remove the challenges, but it gave her the ability to respond intelligently, creatively, and effectively. Adaptability begins with awareness. To adjust, you must first observe. Notice the changes around you, the subtle shifts in circumstances, the emerging patterns, the unexpected challenges. Awareness is the first step toward intelligent adaptation, allowing you to respond rather than react, to choose with intention rather than stumble blindly through life. It also requires flexibility, not just in actions, but in mindset. A rigid mind clings to what once was, resists change, and grows frustrated when life refuses to comply with expectations. An adaptable mind is open, curious, and willing to let go of old habits, outdated beliefs, and familiar routines when they no longer serve you. Flexibility is the secret strength that allows you to pivot, evolve, and thrive in any environment. Think about the natural world. Trees bend in the wind rather than break. Rivers carve new paths when blocked. Animals migrate, adjust, and survive in changing climates. Adaptability is not weakness. It is a profound form of strength. It is the courage to let go of certainty, the wisdom to seek alternative paths, and the resilience to continue even when the map is unclear. Adaptability also fosters growth. When you embrace change, you open doors to new experiences, skills, and perspective. Each adjustment, each pivot is a lesson, a chance to expand your capacity, deepen your understanding, and develop new forms of resilience. Life rewards those who are willing to flow with its currents rather than resist them, revealing opportunities hidden within disruption. Here is a story from everyday life. A young teacher faced a sudden shift to online learning. Her methods, her lesson plans, and her entire rhythm of teaching were upended. Instead of resisting, she embraced the challenge, learned new tools, and experimented with innovative approaches. What began as a daunting obstacle became an opportunity for creativity, connection, and growth. Her adaptability not only allowed her to survive the change, but to thrive in ways she had never imagined. Adaptability also enhances emotional resilience. Change often brings discomfort, uncertainty, or fear. When you cultivate the ability to adjust, you reduce resistance and emotional strain. You learn to move with life rather than against it, to approach challenges with curiosity rather than dread, and to respond with clarity rather than panic. This emotional fluidity is a powerful skill. It allows you to remain grounded, focused, and effective even amidst turbulence. A practical way to develop adaptability is to practice small adjustments in daily life. Try new routines, experiment with unfamiliar approaches, seek alternative solutions to problems. Notice how your mind and body respond to change. Over time, these small practices build a mental flexibility that can be applied to larger, more significant life shifts. Adaptability becomes a habit, a mindset, and a natural response to uncertainty. Adaptability also thrives on a growth-oriented perspective. When faced with change, ask yourself, what can I learn? How can I grow? What opportunities exist in this situation? This mindset transforms uncertainty from a source of anxiety into a catalyst for creativity, innovation, and personal development. The more you view change as an invitation rather than a threat, the more effectively you navigate life's current. Remember, adaptability does not mean surrendering your values or giving up on your goals. It means approaching life with fluidity while staying rooted in purpose. It is the balance between holding firm where it matters and bending where life demands. It is the art of responding intelligently, creatively, and courageously to the world as it is, rather than as you wish it to be. As we draw this chapter to a close, reflect on this. Where in your life could adaptability transform struggle into opportunity? What challenges are you resisting that could become growth if approached with flexibility and openness? Adaptability is a gift, a skill, a mindset, and a form of strength that allows you to thrive no matter what life brings. In the next chapter, we will explore the profound power of self-awareness, the ability to understand yourself deeply, navigate your inner world, and align your actions with your truest purpose. But before we turn the page, take a moment to breathe, to notice where you are resisting, and to feel the quiet power of adaptability flowing within you, preparing you for the journey ahead. Chapter 9. The Power of Self-Awareness. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing before a vast, still lake at dawn. The water is clear, reflecting every detail of the surrounding landscape, the trees, the sky, the gentle ripples stirred by the wind. Now imagine that the lake is your mind, your emotions, your inner world. How clearly do you see yourself reflected? How well do you understand the currents beneath the surface? This is self-awareness, the profound ability to observe yourself honestly, to understand your thoughts, emotions, and patterns, and to navigate life with insight and clarity. Self-awareness is the foundation of transformation. Without it, we drift through life, reacting to circumstances, controlled by unseen biases, fears, and assumptions. With it, we gain the power to choose how we respond, what we prioritize, and the direction we take. Self-awareness is not just knowing what you like or dislike. It is understanding why you act, feel, and think the way you do. It is the compass that guides you toward authenticity, fulfillment, and mastery over your own life. Think of a time when you reacted impulsively, when anger, fear, or insecurity drove your decisions. Perhaps you wished you could have paused, reflected, and chosen differently. That pause, that conscious space, is the heart of self-awareness. It allows you to step back from emotion, to observe it without judgment, and to respond with intention rather than habit. Self-awareness begins with reflection. Take the time to notice your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Ask yourself, what motivates me? What fears are influencing my choices? Where am I seeking validation or avoiding discomfort? These questions are not meant to create self-criticism, but to illuminate patterns, uncover truths, and reveal the hidden drivers of your actions. Here is the power of insight. Once you recognize your patterns, you gain choice. Awareness transforms unconscious reactions into conscious actions. It allows you to break cycles of behavior, to respond to challenges with clarity, and to align your actions with your highest values. Imagine the freedom in that, the ability to act deliberately, to shape your life rather than be shaped by it. Self-awareness is also deeply connected to emotional intelligence. By understanding your emotions, you can understand others. By recognizing your triggers, you can navigate conflict with empathy. By seeing your blind spots, you can strengthen your relationships and your influence. The more you know yourself, the more you understand the world around you, and the more effective you become in every sphere of life. Consider a story. A young professional struggled in her career because she often felt slighted by colleagues, interpreting neutral comments as criticism. Her relationship suffered, her confidence wavered, and she questioned her own abilities. Through self-awareness, she noticed her patterns, how past experiences amplified her reactions. She learned to pause, to reflect, and to respond with perspective rather than emotion. Not only did her career flourish, but her sense of peace and self-respect deepened. Self-awareness turned struggle into growth. The path to self-awareness also involves honest feedback. Seek the perspectives of those you trust. Listen without defensiveness. Notice where your perception of yourself differs from how others experience you. These insights are gifts, illuminating areas for growth, refinement, and deeper understanding. Self-awareness is not a destination, it is a practice. Daily reflection, journaling, meditation, or simply taking quiet moments to observe your inner world strengthens this capacity. Over time, it builds a profound clarity, a sense of knowing who you are, what you value, and how you wish to show up in the world. An essential aspect of self-awareness is understanding your values and priorities. What truly matters to you, which principles guide your decisions. When you are aware of your values, you can make choices that are aligned, purposeful, and authentic. You no longer drift according to external pressures or fleeting desires. You act in harmony with your inner compass. Self-awareness also encourages humility. It reveals that none of us have complete control, that we all carry biases, insecurities, and blind spots. By seeing ourselves clearly, we grow in patience, understanding, and empathy for ourselves and for others. It is through this clarity that we find strength, rather than rigidity, and wisdom, rather than ego. Here is a simple exercise. Pause several times a day to ask, what am I feeling right now? Why? Observe without judgment. Track your reactions, notice patterns, and explore the underlying causes. Over time, this practice will deepen your understanding of yourself, your motivations, and your capacity for growth. Self-awareness is not always comfortable. It shines light on areas we may prefer to ignore, challenges assumptions, and confronts illusions. Yet it is precisely this discomfort that fosters transformation. Growth is born in clarity, not in denial. True freedom comes from understanding oneself fully. The strengths, the weaknesses, the fears, and the desires, and using that knowledge to act with intention. As this chapter closes, reflect on this. How well do you truly know yourself? What patterns, triggers, or assumptions might be influencing your life without your awareness? Self-awareness is the key that unlocks conscious living, empowering you to act with clarity, integrity, and purpose. By cultivating this skill, you are not only mastering yourself, but shaping a life that reflects your truest potential. In the next and final chapter, we will explore the ultimate lesson, the power of gratitude and perspective. The ability to embrace life fully, cherish the present, and transform every experience into growth and fulfillment. But before we turn the page, take a moment to look inward, to acknowledge what you have learned about yourself, and to feel the quiet, steady strength that self-awareness provides. Chapter 10. The Power of Gratitude and Perspective. Imagine standing on the edge of a mountain at sunrise. The world stretches endlessly before you, valleys shrouded in mist, rivers glinting like silver threads, and the sky painted with the first blush of light. In this moment, there is a sense of awe, a quiet recognition of life's vastness and the fragile, beautiful impermanence of it all. This is the essence of gratitude and perspective. The ability to see the richness in every moment, to recognize the gifts hidden in life's challenges, and to appreciate the present as the true treasure it is. Gratitude is more than a polite thank you. It is a deep, conscious recognition of the good that exists in your life, even amidst difficulty. It is the practice of noticing, of pausing, and of feeling the quiet abundance that surrounds you. Perspective is the lens through which you view your experiences, allowing you to discern what truly matters and what is transient. Together, gratitude and perspective create a powerful synergy, a mental and emotional lens that transforms how you experience the world. Consider the story of a man who faced a sudden, life-altering illness. In the beginning, he felt despair, anger, and fear. But slowly he shifted his focus, not toward what he had lost, but toward the moments he could still savor. The warmth of a friend's visit, the taste of his favorite meal, the sun on his face. Gratitude reshaped his reality. Perspective gave him the ability to see challenges, not as punishments, but as opportunities for growth, connection, and reflection. By embracing gratitude, he discovered richness in the very life he feared was slipping away. Gratitude begins with attention. Most of us move through life with a narrow focus, consumed by problems, obligations, or comparisons. To cultivate gratitude, you must notice, pay attention to the small things, a kind word, a shared smile, a moment of stillness. Each observation, each acknowledgement, is a seed of appreciation that, when nurtured, grows into profound contentment. Perspective, on the other hand, requires reflection. It asks you to step back, to see your circumstances from a broader vantage point. What is temporary? What is essential? How does this moment fit into the larger story of your life? Perspective allows you to distinguish between what deserves worry and what can be released. It grants clarity in chaos and calm in the midst of storm. Here is the transformative truth. Gratitude and perspective are not dependent on circumstances, they are choices. You may not control the events that unfold around you, but you can control how you perceive them and what meaning you assign to them. A challenging day becomes a lesson, a setback becomes a stepping stone, a difficult person becomes a mirror, reflecting what you need to learn. This shift in perception changes not only your experience, but the trajectory of your life. Gratitude also strengthens resilience. When you recognize the good that persists, even in hardship, you anchor yourself in hope. You cultivate an inner strength that cannot be shaken by external turbulence. Perspective complements this by helping you see that even suffering has limits and cycles, that pain is part of a larger narrative, and that your response, not your circumstances, determines the depth of your fulfillment. Think of everyday life, a traffic jam, a missed opportunity, a disagreement with a loved one. At first, frustration and irritation may dominate, yet, through gratitude, you notice the air you breathe, the music on the radio, the chance to reflect or practice patience. Through perspective, you recognize that this moment is fleeting, a single scene in the vast story of your life. The power of these twin practices lies in their ability to transform ordinary, even negative experiences into moments of clarity, learning, and appreciation. A practical exercise is simple. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for and reflect on why they matter. Pair this with a reflection on perspective. Consider the long-term view of a challenge, imagining how it might appear a year from now. These practices, repeated consistently, retrain your mind, cultivate emotional richness, and deepen your connection to life. Gratitude also opens the heart. It softens resentment, eases judgment, and allows you to connect more deeply with others. Perspective broadens understanding. Together they shift your focus from scarcity to abundance, from fear to curiosity, from reaction to choice. Life becomes less about what is missing and more about what is present. Every breath, every encounter, every experience becomes an opportunity to notice, reflect, and appreciate. Consider the story of a teacher who worked in a challenging school, surrounded by systemic difficulties, limited resources, and moments of frustration. At first, she focused on what was lacking: the students who struggled, the bureaucratic obstacles, the endless demand. Over time, she cultivated gratitude for small successes, for students' laughter, for moments of understanding, and for her own persistence. Perspective allowed her to see the long-term impact of her effort. She realized that her work mattered, even when results were slow, and her appreciation transformed her daily experience, infusing meaning and joy into her teaching. Ultimately, gratitude and perspective teach us the most profound life lesson, that fulfillment is not found in circumstances, but in awareness. Happiness is not something to chase in the future. It is something to cultivate in the present. By noticing what is good, by appreciating what is, and by viewing challenges through a lens of growth and learning, life itself becomes the teacher, and every moment becomes rich with opportunity. As this final chapter draws to a close, pause and reflect. What are the hidden gifts in your life today? Which challenges can be seen in a new light? How might a small shift in awareness, an embrace of gratitude, a broader perspective, transform your experience, your mindset, and your relationship? These are the keys to a life lived fully, a life of meaning, and a life that grows brighter with each passing day. Take this moment to breathe, to feel, and to anchor yourself in gratitude. Carry perspective with you, allowing it to illuminate your choices, guide your actions, and transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. You have learned through this journey that life's lessons are not distant or abstract. They are present, unfolding, and accessible to you in every moment. Remember, the power to improve your life forever does not lie in circumstances, wealth, or recognition. It lies in your ability to see clearly, to act consciously, and to appreciate deeply. Gratitude and perspective are the culmination of all the lessons we have explored, the lens through which life's experiences become meaningful, and the heart through which transformation flows. As we end this journey together, carry this truth: life is rich, life is fleeting, and life is yours to embrace fully. Notice it, appreciate it, and move forward with clarity, courage, and joy. This is the power that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary life. Finale, carrying the lessons forward. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of this moment, the moment you stand at the edge of everything you have learned, ready to step back into your life with new eyes, a fuller heart, and a mind that sees opportunity where before there was doubt. Throughout this journey, we've explored the tenets of living consciously, courageously, and fully. We began by discovering the importance of self-awareness, the quiet power of reflection, and the strength that comes from understanding your own mind. We've navigated the terrain of discipline, connection, resilience, and perspective, uncovering lessons that, if embraced, can shift the very trajectory of your life. Now, the final lesson is simple, yet profound. Your life is a canvas, and your choices are the brushstrokes. Each decision, each response, each moment of attention or inattention shapes the painting of your existence. Gratitude, perspective, emotional awareness, and deliberate action are your colors, the tools that transform ordinary days into a life worth celebrating. Consider the butterfly that emerges from the cocoon. It does not resist the transformation, nor does it control the wind. It simply learns to navigate with strength and grace, using the wings it has been given. Your journey mirrors this natural transformation. Life will not wait. Time moves relentlessly forward, but you have the capacity to meet it with intention, to cultivate joy, to embrace learning, and to shape a life that matters, not just for yourself, but for everyone your presence touches. Reflect on the lessons you have gathered. Perhaps one spoke to you more deeply than the others. Perhaps all of them resonated, weaving a tapestry of understanding that is uniquely yours. Hold them close, for they are not abstract concepts, they are actionable principles. Apply them, live them. Watch as your relationships, work, and personal fulfillment shift subtly yet profoundly over time. Here is the final truth: life does not happen to you, it happens through you. You are the observer, the participant, the creator, and the receiver. By cultivating awareness, practicing gratitude, embracing discipline, and seeing each challenge as an opportunity, you become the architect of your own destiny. You are no longer a passenger drifting in circumstance. You are a navigator charting your course with wisdom, courage, and compassion. As you move forward, remember the stories, the examples, and the exercises we have shared. Let them remind you that change is not a moment, but a series of conscious steps. Let them remind you that resilience is born in action, not intention. Let them remind you that fulfillment is not a distant goal, but a present practice, woven into the fabric of your daily life. Take a moment now to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel gratitude for this very experience, for the time you have invested in yourself, for the openness to learn, and for the willingness to grow. Carry this feeling with you, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a compass that guides your choices, your thoughts, and your energy. And as you step out into the world, remember, the lessons of life are everywhere. The sunrise that greets you, the laughter of a friend, the challenges that test you, the victories that humble you, all are teachers. Pay attention, respond consciously, choose wisely, live fully. You have now taken the steps to transform understanding into action, insight into practice, and knowledge into wisdom. The journey does not end here. It begins anew every morning you open your eyes, every conversation you engage in, every decision you make. This is your life, and it is remarkable in its potential, in its beauty, and in its fleeting, precious nature. Carry these lessons forward. Be mindful, be courageous, be grateful. Create a life that inspires, uplifts, and leaves a legacy, not measured by accolades, but by the depth of love, awareness, and joy you bring to yourself and to the world. Your life is changed in this moment, not because the world around you has shifted, but because you have chosen to see it differently, to live differently, and to embrace the extraordinary within the ordinary. This is your gift. This is your power. This is your life, fully awake, fully alive, and fully yours.